Hi everybody, welcome to Hanan's Kitchen. I'm Hanan and today we're going to be making a braided pie. I love this braided pie because it's made with simple ingredients. I'm going to go over them soon and they're going to be listed in the information box. This braided pie looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. So if you're looking for something to take to a friend's house or something to serve, at a table for like a special party or Christmas or New Year's or something, this is definitely my go-to thing to do. So hang on and stay tuned and we're gonna get together soon. So first thing is we start out with our scale, our trusty scale. Measure everything so you have accurate and consistent results. I have some warm milk. Here's some sugar. I've got my yeast, a little bit of salt. I have about a cup of oil. You can use any kind of oil. This is just vegetable oil. Some flour. All right, let's get started. I added my sugar into my milk, and the milk has to be warm, of course, because the yeast needs that. The next thing I'm going to add is my yeast, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a whisk to make sure that everything's incorporated well. Okay, now once everything's incorporated, I'm just going to put it to the side. And we'll wait for it to get foamy. Okay, now I'm going to add my salt over to the flour, and I'll give that a little bit of a mix. And don't worry about the ingredients. All the description of the ingredients and the weights and grams are going to be in the description box. Now everything is foamy. I'm going to add my liquid. I always add my liquid first before I add my flour. Here's my oil going in. Get all of it in there. Okay. And the reason I add my flour next is because I want to make sure my mixer reaches everything. So I always add my liquids first. And then I add my flour, which I mixed in with the salt. Carefully, so it doesn't fall all over me. All right, got all of it in there. Okay, now I'm just going to give it a little bit of a mix. We're going to put it in the mixer, and I put it on speed 1, which is just like stirring it just to get it incorporated. Once I get it incorporated, I'm going to increase the speed, and it's going to go for about 4 to 5 minutes. 4 to 5 minutes, not 45 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. So here it is, it's incorporated. This is after 4, I think, or 5 minutes that it was going for. As you can see, it left the size, the bowl is clean, it's nice and smooth. I'm ready to take it out now. I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil on my hands before I take it out so it doesn't stick. Okay, let's get that unloaded. Technical difficulties. Okay, here we go. So now I'm just gonna roll it, and I fold it like a book, and then I roll it onto itself. And again, just tuck everything in. I usually move it around the counter a little bit till I have a nice smooth bowl of dough. I'm now going to put it in the bowl, and the bowl has been oiled. You can see my bottle of oil there, dangerously close to the ledge. So we put a little bit of oil in there. I'm going to put my dough in the oil. Just spread some on your hands. A little bit of residual oil onto the dough. And in it goes. I'm going to cover it up with plastic wrap. And I will leave it in a warm room for about an hour. We want it to kind of double, maybe triple in size. It's going to get big. And we're going to punch it down, and we're going to let it rise one more time anyway, because this is going to be a shaped dough. So I'm going to cover it with a towel. I'm now going to go put it in the oven. It's going in there. There. That's it. We'll wait. Okay. So while we're waiting, I started to prepare the dough. So I boiled a potato, okay, along with the peel. And now I'm going to brown some ground beef. And once I start to see a little bit of color develop on there, I'm going to add my onions. I'm gonna add garlic and my spices next, and I'm just gonna give it a stir. And it doesn't matter, you can put everything raw all at the same time. It's gonna cook for a little while anyway, so it's okay. So this is kind of the color that I got. Now I'm gonna add my garlic. I don't like to put my garlic in there right away because I don't want it to cook for too long, because then it can get bitter. So I just crushed my garlic in there. I love my garlic press. This is from IKEA. Okay, give it a little stir. Once everything is nice and incorporated, I'm adding my spices, salt, pepper, and a little of 7 spice. 7 spice can be found in any Middle Eastern store, and a lot of times it's in supermarkets now everywhere. Or whatever, you know, you don't have to put 7 spice. You can just put salt and pepper and whatever your favorite flavor. It's ready. I'm taking it out of the oven. All right, now watch how big it got. I'm gonna uncut. This is my favorite part. Look at how much bigger it got, nice and poofy. So now I'm gonna unwrap it. I'm gonna punch it down a little bit, and then I'm gonna divide it into 2 pieces. Punch it down. This is my favorite part, when you punch it down. All right, see little bubbles there coming on. So now I'm gonna fold it just to get as much air of it as possible out. Remove it from the bowl. And now I'm just going to cut it in half. Okay, now I'm just going to turn this around and make it into another bowl and just put it on the side, waiting for when I'm ready to use it. You want it to be nice and smooth on the top, so it's easier when we roll it. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So now I have two pieces of dough, so it's enough to make 2 braids. And you know, one is going to be definitely ground beef and potato. The other one, I don't know what I'm going to do with yet. Let it rest. Just going to cover it. Okay, they're ready. Now this is 15 minutes later. I took them out. They're nice and smooth. I'm going to take one bowl out. And now here's the fun part. You just keep the other one covered so it doesn't dry out while I work on this one. I'm going to take the dough. I'm going to pat it down a little bit. And now I'm going to start rolling it. I want to roll it into an oval shape. And I already moved it around a little bit, and I had to let it rest so it can stretch with me. So if you're doing this and it's stretching back out, know that you just need to rest it for a little bit longer. Now I added my ground beef mixture. Okay, this is ground beef with potatoes. I took the potato, obviously, that I boiled, and I mashed it up and I put it in there. So there's the ground beef and potato mixture. I'm putting it in, and I'm trying to get it as even as possible. I'm just going to lay it down and kind of smooth it out with my spoon. If I need to add a little bit more, this is the time to do it, because the next step is going to be cutting the dough. So it looks like I missed a spot here, so I'm going to add a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to cut each side. So it has to be even. So here's one cut. So now you have one strip. So I'm going to do another strip on the other side. And you want to try to give yourself enough room in between. I'll explain in a minute. You'll see what I'm talking about. But it has to be even. So if I cut 4 sides, it has to be 4 sides on the other side. Okay, so now I've cut all of them. I'm just pushing my filling a little bit in because I want to have like half a centimeter or about a centimeter, like a half an inch for our American friends, of clearance, because I'm creating like a little bit of a cage with this braid. This way my filling doesn't fall out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the first part up, and I'm going to incorporate that together. It'll look better once it's done, once everything gets going. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. So now I have my bottom and my top up. Okay, now I'm going to start to take one strip and just bring it over diagonally, and we just keep going. Now, the magic of TV. Now this is nice and speeded up for us. Okay, you just go back and forth, and do one at a time, because we want to overlap them, kind of like a lattice type of pie crust. Okay, once we get to the end, we're gonna take the last two and we're gonna tuck them in. So here's one, here's two, here's the last two, and they're going to be tucked under. You tuck it under, and there it is, all done. So now I'm just gonna tighten that a little bit on the top just to make it a little prettier. It's ready to be transported back into my baking pan. I'm now going to prepare a little bit of an egg wash while it's rising a little bit. So while I'm making the egg wash, I have it covered so it doesn't dry out. So here's my egg yolk along with a little bit of milk. And we are going to brush. Gotta incorporate it really well. So I'm whisking it all together. I'm now going to just paint my egg wash on top of it. Make sure you get every little piece. This could be a little bit tedious, you guys, but if you don't get every little piece, there's going to be parts that don't get browned. I'm now adding a little bit of sesame seed, but you don't have to add sesame seeds. You can add nigella seeds. You can add everything, bagel seasoning. I've even added and had really great luck with adding Montreal steak seasoning on top of this. It gives it more flavor, a little extra more salt and the kick. It's really, really good. But here I had some sesame seeds from other bread that I was baking before. So here it is. Okay, so remember that other one? I decided to make it with apple. So this is some apples, and I added a little bit of sugar to it and cinnamon. I cut them up into little pieces. So here's the sugar. I added a couple of tablespoons of sugar, a little sprinkle of cinnamon to taste. And I added a tablespoon or two of cornstarch. And the cornstarch, and you'll see this is me adding the sugar. The cornstarch there's the cornstarch. Now the cornstarch is really important because it'll thicken up the sauce as the apples release their juices and mix in with the sugar and the cinnamon. We don't want them oozing out of the pie. So we add a little bit of cornstarch to thicken it. With the heat in the oven, it's gonna do that. Trust me, it came out awesome. So I'm just mixing everything together. I'm going to put it in the dough, in the other dough, and I'm gonna cut the same way. Nothing different, it's exactly the same way. Make sure you get both sides done. Make sure you have enough room on either side so that you don't get apple juice flowing out onto your pan. Now I braided it the same exact way. See how the side has a little bit of a wall? Okay, that's because I didn't cut all the way. I brushed it with egg wash. This one is getting a little bit of cinnamon sugar or a lot of cinnamon sugar, because the cinnamon sugar is actually going to go into the little crevices on top from between the braid, the space between the braid, and comes out really good. So now that's going to go in the oven, and they can both go in together. I heat my oven to 400 degrees. I'm going to put a timer on there. I think they baked for about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. Every oven is different. But here they are. Ground beef, spices, and potatoes. And then this one, we didn't want to do it with potatoes again, so we had some apples. So we did like an apple pie filling. We did apples, cinnamon sugar, a little bit of cornstarch, a tiny little squeeze of lemon juice, and we just put it in the same exact way. You've seen the instructions. I want to cut a piece for you with the ground beef just so I could show you what the consistency looks like inside. It cuts like a loaf of bread. This is, like I said, a great presentation for a party, for holiday parties, anything like that. And here it is. Look at how beautiful the beef filling is. It goes right on the plate. It makes for a great presentation. It's a fluffy dough, really, really fluffy. It's crispy on the bottom a little bit. And then you got this beautiful ground beef with the potatoes inside. You can kind of see the little bits of the potatoes in there, the spices and the ground beef. And then you just eat it up and enjoy. I want to also cut another piece for you with the potato, but let me get another knife because this one's not that clean. I want to cut the one with the apple for you. As you can see, like I said, it's an apple pie filling. And even if you're too lazy to cut up your own apples and cook them up, you can go ahead to the supermarket and get some pumpkin pie filling or apple pie filling, and you can use that. It works just as well. Here is the apples. You could see, I'm going to put it in a plate. You could see how great this looks. It's like an apple cinnamon mix of some wonderful cinnamon sugar goodness. It's awesome. The apple's cooked nice and soft inside. You've got the cinnamon sugar on the top. Look at how beautiful. The presentation is just magnificent and the taste is phenomenal. I hope you enjoyed our time together today. We did the apple braid and the beef and potato braid. I meant to do two completely different fillings for you, just so you can see that how versatile this is. I hope to see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed it.